to all of you faithful viewers of Equinoxe Television, 6 p.m. by our studio clock. It's time for the news today, Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm Major Stories this evening. At least 3 suspected human bone traffickers have been arrested by elements of the research unit of the 1st Gendarmerie region in Yaoundé, Cameroon's nation's political capital. The bones, which were exhumed in a cemetery in the Mayo-Danai division on the far north region of the country, was expected to be sold at the sum of about 6 million francs CFA. We'll tell you more on the circumstances that led to the discovery in this news edition. Plus, the football encounter pitting Libya and the Super Eagles of Nigeria has finally been cancelled by CAF. This came after the Nigerian national side of the national team complained of being maltreated or abandoned at a small airport in Libya. Viewers, those are our major stories. Details in just a moment. Welcome back, viewers. Thank you so much for the confidence. We told you a while ago that at least 3 suspected human bone traffickers have been arrested by elements of the research unit of the 1st Gendarmerie region in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé. The bones, which were exhumed in a cemetery in the Mayo-Danai division of the far north region, were expected to be sold at 6 million francs CFA. Immaculate Fogwe reports on the circumstances that led to the discovery of those skeletons.
Viewers in disbelief as they closely watch a suspected human bone trafficker unveil dismembered human bones.
La gendarmerie nationale a été saisie.
We were informed by an individual about a network of persons specialized in trafficking human bones who were on their way to Yaoundé. Investigations enabled us to arrest 2 suspects at the Gare Routière Van neighborhood in Yaoundé. They had the complete bones of a human.
En possession des ossements complets.
According to Lieutenant Claude Mbutu Abeselo, commander of the research unit of the 1st Gendarmerie region, the bones were exhumed from a cemetery in Pousse in the Mayo-Danai division far north region of Cameroon, and it was to be sold for 6 million francs CFA.
Au lieu du forfait, c'est-à-dire que dans un village nommé Pousse.
After telling us where they exhumed the skeleton, we went to the cemetery and noticed that over 30 tombs have been tampered with. This is clear proof that the activity has been going on for a long while now. These bones are often used for the production of hard drugs commonly known in French as caillou. A gram of the hard drug costs 75,000 francs. According to security elements, the consumption of this drug by some youths accounts for the high rate of insecurity in several neighborhoods. The 3 suspects, aged between 25 to 30 years, will have to appear before a competent court for judgment.
And now to the southwest region, precisely in Kumba, where several families are now stranded in Sunak Street. In Kumba, in the southwest region, their houses were reduced to ashes by wild flames, consuming at least 4 of the houses. Reports say the fire fled from illicit fuel which was being stored in one of the houses. Lucy Diengu Esie takes us to Kumba.
An atmosphere of sorrow grieves the inhabitants of Sunak Street in Kumba in the southwest region. A devastating fire that broke out in the early hours of today consumes at least 4 houses. Eyewitnesses say the flames began from a house where illicit fuel was stored and it rapidly spread to nearby houses. An inconsolable victim explains she lost everything, including the goods she bought worth 250,000 francs CFA to restart her business. This money was given to her by her brother yesterday. All the goods she purchased, none could be recovered. Efforts put in place by the population to extinguish the flames were fruitless. Firefighters arrived on the scene, battling with the raging inferno that threatened to spread further. Also, the divisional officer of Kumba 1, Ali Anugu, was on the scene. He promised to continue to fight against the sale of illicit fuel in houses. At the time of this report, no loss of life has been recorded, but enormous material damage.
And a truck driver has lost his life after he lost control of his vehicle in Malantwen, a village in the Nous division. We are now in the west region of the country. And in order to put an end to the several accidents which occurred over the Bam River, the mayors from Gambetika and Malantwen, the both communities, they call for the construction of a bridge over that river. Details with Cedric Chakutu.
A lorry driver in Malantwen village, a neighborhood in the Nous division, west region of Cameroon, dies after he lost control of his vehicle. The lorry entered the river after breaking the bridge linking Bioko village, neighborhood in Gambetika subdivision of the central region of Cameroon.
Nos populations, aussi bien celles de Nous en général et celles du centre, c'est-à-dire Gambetika, nous sommes séparés depuis dimanche, parce qu'il y a eu un accident involontaire où un camion 20 tonnes chargé de maïs est tombé dans le cours d'eau parce que nous traversons sur le bac.
The mayors of both communities have joined forces to call for the construction of a bridge over the Mbam River. They say this river, which is over 150 meters wide, is responsible for many fatal accidents each year, swallowing up trucks and inhabitants. Local authorities report that the lorry driver is yet to be found.
Le chauffeur qui conduisait le camion de 20 tonnes n'est pas encore retrouvé jusqu'à présent. Il est encore dans l'eau. Et nous prions le plus puissant qu'il facilite sa sortie.
In a view of putting an end to accidents that occur each year over the Bam River, both Malantwen and Gambetika mayors agreed on the construction of a bridge.
Now we talk politics. The Social Democratic Front, the SDF party, has criticized once again the government over the poor management of the nation. The government has been urged to fulfill its duties of informing, protecting and providing for its citizens. This is contained in the last National Executive Committee NEC resolutions. Babila Jonathan has the details.
Social Democratic Front SDF political party condemns what it qualifies as the government ever-increasing cacophony on the whereabouts and health of the head of state Paul Biya and other issues of national interest. To the party of Honorable O.C. Joshua, the cacophony in the management of state affairs is enough evidence of the absence of leadership at the summit. In the resolutions of the last National Executive Committee meeting, the SDF reminds the government that the rumors surrounding the whereabouts of the head of state are fueled by the fact that the country has a leader qualified as an absentee landlord.
The absence of the head of state, which we took cognizance of, and of course many other issues at the level of international relations, at the level of the health of the party, and of course at the level of the nation. We condemn very strongly the high cost of living and want the government to make sure that they don't increase the rounds of high prices, especially on fuel, because you see, the high cost of living is as a result of increase in fuel prices. So Cameroonians are suffering.
The party also condemns the government's inability to play its supervisory, protective and regulatory role in the provision of water, electricity and mobile phone services to consumers. The government is urged by the SDF to immediately introduce significantly repressive reparatory measures for compensation to be paid to flood consumers by the various companies for their poor quality services.
And now let's talk health. Today has been observed as World Food Day across the world. A nutritionist has once warned against overfeeding and a combination of food varieties considered by many as good feeding. Celestine Gafi, who is a nutritionist on the occasion of the World Food Day today, says a healthy diet is eating sufficiently at respected intervals, consuming enough fruits, vegetables, and also drinking enough water. All these, when consumed considerably, entail feeding well and not eating heavily without control. Innocent Aze has details of that story.
Most people in society believe feeding well is about eating a mountainous plate of food and combining varieties at ceremonies.
Do portion control. When I talk of portion control, I mean you have to be mindful of the portion sizes of the food that you eat, not eating excessively.
Those who target a balanced diet are persons who can boast of feeding well.
Eating well refers to consuming a balanced and nutritious diet. It also entails eating a varieties of food. For example, vegetables, fruits, proteins, whole grains, in fact, balanced meals. And you also have to consider the nutrients density. That means you have to consider whole grains, and you have to limit processed food. You have to also limit excessive calories and make sure you reduce your sugar consumption. And then make sure that you also take enough water.
Meals programs must be consumed at appropriate intervals and sufficiently.
Breakfast is very important, and you have to take your lunch and even your supper. So 3 meals per day is good, and you take 2 snacks in between those meals. At bedtime, it's not advisable to eat heavy meals. If you are home late, it's good you take something light, and even after taking that something that is light, it's good to wait up for some time before you go to sleep.
Vegetables must be taken often too for additional nutrients.
The frequency does matter. If in a week you eat at least 3 to 4 times vegetables, it will be helpful.
The nutritionist warns of overfeeding and intake of acidic fruits in an empty stomach.
If you are taking a citrus fruit in an empty stomach, it's going to disturb you. But if you are taking some fruits, for example, like watermelon or pawpaw in an empty stomach, it will be well absorbed and it will help you. But most of the time, we have to also eat fruits in between our meals.
On World Diet Day every October 16, nutritionists stress on the necessity to uphold a healthy diet for a healthy life.
Now we talk sports. The lawyer of Kylian Mbappe has confirmed that her client is doing just fine after a Swedish news outlet claimed that the captain of the French national men's football team and Real Madrid star was involved in a case of sex. And over to Nigeria, Nigerians are patiently waiting for the outcome of the findings of CAF's disciplinary committee after they were reportedly maltreated in Libya. Smart Njikan Gabriel has the details.
October 10, 2024, the Swedish media has reported about an investigation that has been opened on the French team captain, Kylian Mbappe. According to the Swedish media, Kylian Mbappe has been accused of rape, which occurred in Stockholm. The information that is known on the social media platforms hasn't left the Real Madrid star indifferent, as he has refuted the allegations. As the Swedish media keeps talking about the incident on social media, the lawyer of Kylian Mbappe says his client is calm, and they now link the happenings to Mbappe Club. Elsewhere, the Nigerian Football Federation and several supporters are still waiting on CAF's final decision after the treatment received by the Super Eagles, who were supposed to play against Libya in Benghazi. The flight that was supposed to land at Benghazi Airport was diverted to Al Abrak Airport.
The flight plan was to land as destination Benghazi, Benina. But unfortunately, and we got the approval from the Libyan Civil Aviation Authority that we are approved to land in Benghazi. But unfortunately, when we start descent, they asked us to divert to Labrak.
The pilot of the ValueJet flight pleaded to no avail. For several hours, the Nigerian delegations tried to call officials of the Libyan Football Federation to no avail. After spending several hours at the airport unanimously, players decided to boycott the game and return home. In a media release, the Confederation of African Football, CAF, has acknowledged the incident and has promised to react soon after the disciplinary board of the institution finishes with its investigations.
Thanks, Matt. And before we move over to the second part of the news, this note from the Minister of Transport. After the accident that happened in Kumba, precisely on the Yaoundé-Sangmelima highway, which cost the lives of several persons, the driver's license of the driver who drove the bus which had the accident has been suspended, and also Galaxy Express, which is the bus or the transport agency which was involved in that road accident, has been suspended. We will be bringing to you details that would be in our subsequent news editions. And viewers, that does it for the first part of the news. Don't go away, Talking Point comes up next. Welcome back, viewers. Today we will be talking on how to eat healthily on the World Food Day, which has been commemorated today. And our guest tonight is a nutritionist, another nutritionist. She is Clarice Awanye. Clarice, thank you so much for accepting to be our guest on Talking Point tonight. Today is dedicated to healthy eating. Let's call it that way. It's World Food Day. As a nutritionist, can you tell us the importance of eating healthily?
In my country, Cameroon, there is no specific, generally the breakfast, the lunch and the dinner is not supposed to have a specific way, because in this society we have a lot of people with different means. Somebody that is rich cannot afford cannot take the same breakfast like somebody that is poor. So an individual that wants to take breakfast, it's not supposed to be like it must be this particular thing. Yes, it is not supposed to be specific. You can still take a cooked meal like what you take in the for lunch or dinner can still be your breakfast. It is not a particular something. So breakfast in general, it is the first meal that an individual take. So it is a choice for an individual to take the kind of breakfast. But in this context, when you want to take it, you should make sure that it is going to support you for the activities of the day, or what you are taking should be able to go give you the energy to sustain you, and to also be complete with the different food classes that we have. Yes, for example, there are so many people that go in for fufu corn, rice. Those are carbohydrate sources, and they accompany it maybe with groundnut soup or with beans. Those are protein sources, or they accompany the fufu corn with vegetables. Those are also good. They also bring in a lot into the system. But you also need to add other things like fruits. Fruit doesn't mean that you need to get a very huge quantity. Just maybe a slice of a melon, a slice of a pineapple, or just an orange is going to also help you. And most importantly, water needs to be accompanied after this meal.
And now you're already responding somehow when we talk about taking healthy meals in our context in Cameroon. What does that really mean? Can you explain to our viewers more about breakfast, lunch and supper? What should they be consist of normally?
This in my country, Cameroon, there is no specific, generally the breakfast, the lunch and the dinner is not supposed to have a specific way, because in this society we have a lot of people with different means. Somebody that is rich cannot afford cannot take the same breakfast like somebody that is poor. So an individual that wants to take breakfast, it's not supposed to be like it must be this particular thing. Yes, it is not supposed to be specific. You can still take a cooked meal like what you take in the for lunch or dinner can still be your breakfast. It is not a particular something. So breakfast in general, it is the first meal that an individual take. So it is a choice for an individual to take the kind of breakfast. But in this context, when you want to take it, you should make sure that it is going to support you for the activities of the day, or what you are taking should be able to go give you the energy to sustain you, and to also be complete with the different food classes that we have. Yes, for example, there are so many people that go in for fufu corn, rice. Those are carbohydrate sources, and they accompany it maybe with groundnut soup or with beans. Those are protein sources, or they accompany the fufu corn with vegetables. Those are also good. they also bring in a lot into the system. But you also need to add other things like fruits. Fruit doesn't mean that you need to get a very huge quantity. Just maybe a slice of a melon, a slice of a pineapple, or just an orange is going to also help you. And most importantly, water needs to be accompanied after this meal.
And Clarice, you nutritionists, why do you say lunch should be the heaviest meal of the day and supper or dinner should be very light? Why?
Supper is supposed to be light because at the end of the day, when you take something heavy, you will not be able to digest it. If you are going to sleep, you will not be able to digest and use all the energy from what you eat. But we advise people that eat in the evenings to take something lighter. You can still take your same meal that you took in the afternoon, but it should be in a lighter quantity. And before going to sleep, you should be able to give a maximum of 2 hours after eating in order for digestion to take place before you can go to bed. The heaviest meal of the day should be the lunch, because I know within the day you have a lot of activities. People are very active. They have a lot of tasks to go in to do. So the lunch should be one of their heavy meals, because within that time they'll be able to eat, they'll be able to digest the meals, and they'll also be able to use all the calories from these meals in order to do the different activities that they have for the day before going now in the evening, where they will not be able, they don't need a lot of energy because it is a resting time.
Okay, there is this issue, this confusion on fruit consumption. Some of opinions say fruits should be taken before meals for appetite, while others think fruits should be taken after meals for digestion. Can you clarify us on that, please?
Fruits are actually appetizers. They also help in digestion. So for those wondering whether you have to take a fruit before or after meal, effectively fruits work much better when you take it before a meal. Reason being that these fruits that are very rich in fibers, and when these fibers go into your system, they also facilitate the digestion of the food that will be coming after maybe 30 minutes or 15 minutes. And these fruits also, they also help for some absorption of fats. They also help for nutrient absorption. So when you take these fruits, first of all, they create a very easy digestion for you, and secondly, those the nutrient that you are going to eat, or the food that you are going to eat after, is going to help it for better absorption.
Clarice, let's now talk about our children, especially those in primary and nursery schools. Can you speak to mothers who are watching us out there? What should a child's breakfast consist of, for example, before leaving for school, and what snacks should be added in the lunch bags of children? Looks like nowadays we give kids lots of flour on a daily basis, which seems not to be healthy.
The children in this country or in our society, for the children that are preparing to go back to school, we always encourage mothers to limit a lot of flour intake. That is, most at times you see parents going in just with bread or maybe just spaghetti or macaroni. They are too rich in flour, and they don't give in much to those children. At times you can just make a simple meal in the morning, you give to your child. You can cook rice, you can make it with fruits the child takes in the morning. You can still make tea, but you should limit intake of breads, those flour products. They don't give in much to your child in as much as calorie and other nutrient is concerned. They just give in just the flour and some limited nutrients, so the child will not really be able to gain from the breakfast. In as much as if you want to make this bread, you can also accompany it with other things, like for example, we have some people take it with egg in the morning and a cup of tea. It's just for the morning. And even when you want to send the child to school, you look for something that is less with flour. You can give the child some other things that is less in flour. For example, some people do Irish potato, some people fry plantains, some people even give cooked food. They prepare food and they put in the baby's food box, yeah, so that they can go home and consume later in the day.
Okay, we have this problem too of food conservation causing intoxication somehow. Sometimes it has even led to loss of lives. Tell us please, how should cooked food be healthily conserved for those who cook once in 2 or 3 days, especially working class ladies?
When, for example, for those that are working or for those who don't have enough time within the week to cook every day, they prefer to cook and store. So in this case, if you are preparing food to store, you need to know how. The first thing is that you need to have a deep congelator, that is a deep freezer, in order to conserve this food. When you prepare a meal, for example, like a sauce or a vegetable soup that you want to conserve in order to consume in the future or in some days to come, the first thing you need to know is that if you have to use this meal, this vegetable soup or a sauce for several days and you need to use it frequently, you don't need to put everything in a bowl. If you know that it is too much, you need to, like for example, divide it in a quantity that at a time that you want to remove from the deep freezer, you have to remove that quantity and use it all at once. You don't need to remove, you reheat and you reheat, because most of the time when you store it in the deep freezer, the nutrient content is not the same as when you just prepare this fresh soup. So when you store it, when you want to remove it, you remove a quantity that you can use at a single time, and when you use it and it's not finished, you should not be able to carry it back into the deep freezer. Anytime you want to remove something in the deep freezer, you remove and you use it all at once. And for those that are reheating food over and over, actually whenever you reheat foods, there are a lot of nutrients that are being lost. The food that you prepare for the first day is not the same food that you eat on the second or on the third day. As you are heating the food day in and day out, the nutrient content is also reducing, because heat too is also a factor that destroys nutrients in food. So if you heat it for long, the nutrients are also going to be reducing as you are doing so. And when you remove it from the fridge, the nutrient content also is not the same as when you conserve as when you prepare the meal from the first time. So whenever you remove something from the fridge, as a mother that wants to use it all at once, and you don't need to send it back into the fridge. Whenever you think that you cannot finish it, it's better to discard it rather than taking it back into the fridge.
Thank you for those clarifications, Clarice. Now, before we go, what vital takeaway message for us on World Food Day today?
That what you are eating is going to help you, it's not going to destroy you. You don't eat in order to make competition. You need to eat something that is going to help your system, because we are eating actually for the system. You don't eat something that will come and destroy the system. If you eat something that will destroy your system, you have to go and suffer the consequences. So whenever you have a meal in front of you, ask yourself, is this meal balanced? If it is balanced, it's okay, you consume it. Or if you are eating a meal that will go and disturb you for you to have further complications, it is better not to eat it than to eat it. So also, I'm also saying this to those out there that are also struggling with a lot of finances in order to buy food. Actually, it is expensive out there. Natural food, to even get something and prepare, it needs you a lot of money. But if the little that you have, when you go to buy something in the market, make sure that what you're buying is going to be, buy any junk and come and prepare.
Thank you so much, Clarice Awanye, for accepting to be our guest on Talking Point tonight. You are a nutritionist, and hope you have helped somebody out there with your explanations, and hope to have you some other time. Viewers, thank you so much for always being with us. Thank you for the confidence. Our programs continue. Equinoxe in about 30 minutes, and the news in the French language comes up at 8 p.m. Stay with us on Equinoxe Television, and see you again tomorrow, God willing. Bye-bye for now.